So, hi, Andra. Thank you so much for being a part of this summit. Realign your thoughts for women who want to exude confidence in every area of their life. So, to get us started, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little who you are, what you do, and why you decided to be a part of this summit?
I'm Andra Watkins. I am a New York Times bestselling author of the memoir, Not Without My Father, One Woman's 444-mile walk of the Natchez Trace. And I have some other books. And before the pandemic, I was quite a prolific speaker and traveled the country, speaking all over. I've spoken on 3 continents. And so I was really excited when you asked me to do this today, because I love talking about confidence as a woman and as a Southern woman, where I didn't always grow up in an environment that helped me be confident. So this is a great opportunity to address those injustices and hopefully help other women regain and realign their own thinking about confidence.
So, let me ask then, what is confidence to you? How would you define it?
Confidence to me is understanding my value. For the longest time, I did not grow up in a world or live in a world where I believed I had any value. As a child, my feelings were subsumed into other people's feelings, or I was told I wasn't feeling my feelings, or my thoughts weren't the thoughts I was supposed to be having. And that does a lot to a person's confidence as they age and grow into adulthood. So it took me a long time to realize that my thoughts are valuable, my feelings are valuable, I am valuable. And understanding my value is a key to my confidence.
Thank you. Thank you. So, would you consider yourself to be a confident person? Why or why not?
I struggle with confidence still today. It's something that when your subconscious is so seared, and many people, especially female people, struggle with those kinds of things from their upbringing or their environments, where we're told we're not enough, we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not a certain color enough. And so we're told those things, and they become part of our subconscious. And our subconscious is something that reacts instinctively no matter what we do. And so realigning that for me is a daily and sometimes even hourly thing, to reassert my value and to remind myself that I do matter and I am enough and I am valuable.
And I really appreciate you saying that that's something that you have to do constantly, because so many, of us who lack confidence at times, you want to remain confident all the time, but that's not the reality of it. It's really not the reality. So, what role does confidence play in your field of expertise?
Well, I'm a writer. And so a writer and speaker who likes to speak. And so I'm constantly putting myself out there for rejection and judgment. And at times I really struggle with those responses, because that's human. It's human to feel bad when we're rejected. And so actually being a writer and speaker has increased my confidence, because no matter what happens, no matter how many times I fall down, I still get up and put myself out there every day. Even when maybe I don't feel very valuable or feel like people won't care what I have to say, just the act of getting up and saying, I'm here again, I'm going to do it again, knock me down again, I'll get back up again, is enough to give me the confidence and the power to get up and go on and do it again.
And so, what helps you to exude that confidence in not only your professional life, but in your personal life?
I think a big tool for me has been the law of attraction, that what we think about becomes our reality. And so I have a set of affirmations that I do multiple times a day to try to re-inform my confidence and realign my thoughts, especially when I see myself spiraling into places that aren't productive. So I tell myself, I am powerful, I am valuable, I am magnetic, I'm chosen. You know, those kinds of powerful I am statements, and not just repeating them in a rote manner, but actually envisioning myself in those situations and putting on layers of my power and layers of my value to make that more real in my own mind. So as I have deployed those sorts of tools, I have found myself becoming a lot more confident in my own value and worth and message.
Yes, I love that. And I love how you put on layers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has a lot. It's a lot. So would you be open to sharing an experience where you didn't feel confident and explain if and how you were able to push through?
Well, I don't know. Most people here probably haven't read my memoir, but it's about my decision to walk 444 miles as a 44-year-old woman who was not an athlete, to launch a book. And I was walking on a highway through 3 states that have very little population. Most of it happened in Mississippi. And I don't know why I chose to do that. And still to this day, don't know how I finished, other than I just deployed that I've got to get up every day and I've got to put one foot in front of the other one more time, and then one more time, and then one more time, and I'll get through this. I had numerous instances on that month-long trek through 3 states that I wanted to give up and quit. And what that taught me was, rather than looking at the finish line that was days or even weeks away, all I needed to focus on was taking one more step, and then one more step. And those steps built toward the ultimate finish. So I think a lot of times we defeat ourselves by focusing on the end and not breaking it down and thinking about the things we want to accomplish as, well, just one more step, and then one more, and then I've got to get up again, and then I've got to take one more step. So that was a valuable experience for me, where I doubted myself virtually every day and still was able to finish and be one of the only people alive who've done that.
Wow, that's powerful. And like you said, you did it one step at a time, one day at a time. So just following up to that. So when that negative thinking, when that self-doubt begins to creep in and you begin to feel like you're losing that confidence, what do you say, or what do you do to realign your thoughts and regain your confidence?
My primary tool are my affirmation statements, where I sit down and really focus on, I am valuable, I am powerful, I am magnetic, I am chosen, I am articulate. That's another one that I use a lot because I tend to ramble when I talk.
Yeah.
And so really focusing on those things and seeing myself that way, not just rotely saying these things over and over again, but imagining myself in that power and in those places, helps me realign my thoughts. I'm also terrible, and this is a trait that I think a lot of humans have, where I like to live in the past, and I like to beat myself up about failure, and I like to relive situations that didn't go the way I wanted them to, and fight those things out and think about them and dwell on them. And those affirmation statements really help me arrest that when I start, you're in the shower and something pops in your head and you have this argument with someone while you're in the shower, or have some negative thought spiral. The shower is a big place for me to do that, actually. But we're all different, and we all do that.
Uh-huh.
And so having a tool like that at my disposal has been really helpful for me.
And so, and what I take from that too is it's a way of being. So when you're saying those affirmations to yourself, it's really about embodying that and knowing who you need to be in order to really achieve those
Mhm.
affirmations that you said.
And
Um,
I mean, I am those things already. We say such horrible things to ourselves. We say things to ourselves that we would never say to another person. And so what's wrong with telling myself that I matter and I'm valuable and I'm enough and I'm powerful? You know, we should talk to ourselves the way we would want to encourage other people. And that's so changing in the way that I have been able to function in society and as a human being.
and so shifting from yourself to others. So when you work with someone who lacks confidence, how do you embolden them or motivate them to feel empowered?
I really love it when my fellow writers reach out to me and say, I'm struggling with this piece that I'm writing. It really scares me. I think it's too much. Almost always, when they've revealed something that they think is too much, it's just the right amount of vulnerability for a reader to really relate to. And so I always try to empower fellow writers to push themselves even further in what they reveal and how they're vulnerable. I think you found me through one of those essays that I wrote that really scared me because I'd never talked about that publicly. And it was the issue where I lost a friend and did not show up for her at the time in a way that I should have. And that's a hard thing to admit, scared me, but it speaks to people because we all have these vulnerabilities. So I encourage my fellow writers to be vulnerable when they come to me and try to point out places in their writing where they can open up even more. And I have people who do that for me too.
What would be the top 3 actions that you would suggest to someone who's struggling with confidence and they want to create that shift?
The personal affirmations that I have done have been one of the most powerful things personally for me that I have incorporated into my toolkit of how to be confident. Another thing that I have done that's been very hard is I've walked away from people who don't make me feel confident and who don't build me up and who don't see me the way I see myself. For too long, I hung on to those relationships and allowed those voices into my head. And I had to realize that for me to achieve what I want to achieve, it's really important to surround myself with people who see me the way I see myself and who cheer for me and who want me to be successful. So that is the second tool that I would encourage people to incorporate. The third tool that I think I have deployed pretty well is I married my soulmate. And who we share space with if we have a partner is so critical into how we think about and see ourselves. And he is the first person that I can go to and hear, you can do this. I wouldn't have done 10% of what I've accomplished if I hadn't had him on my team.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. So let me say this has been an awesome interview. You are indeed an awesome woman. I definitely appreciate all that you are. Before we end the interview, are there any final thoughts that you would like to share with the women who are attending this summit?
I'm really honored that anyone chose to sit through what I have to say. It's always such an honor to be able to stand in front of other people and hopefully say things that might be the thing that changes a life or several. It's why I'm a writer. It's why I tell stories. I want my stories not to just be me writing stories, but I want them to be things that people see as a way to change their lives and insert themselves into the stories that I tell. So this is such an honor to be able to hopefully impact lives. We never know. That's one of the things about putting yourself out there. You may feel like you're not getting anywhere and you're not reaching anyone. And we never, ever know who we're reaching and how we're changing people. Several years ago, I heard from a police officer who lives in St. Louis. And he reached out to me. He had read my memoir, and the subtext of my memoir is how important it is to make memories with people who matter before it's too late. And he reached out and said, I've had this horrible relationship with my grandmother. And I went to lunch with her last week because I read your memoir. And she's in a nursing home. And we had such a lovely time that we're getting together every month to have lunch. And I just wanted you to know how much of a difference your story made in my life and in her life. And there are so many of those stories that we all impact and we all create and we never know about. So putting ourselves out there, being vulnerable, encouraging other people to be their most confident and best selves makes such a difference in the world. If we could do that more, how much better might the world be?
We could transform the world.
Yeah.
It has been an absolute pleasure and an honor being able to do this interview with you. I'm always in gratitude when people share of themselves and their time. So you are truly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.